kissed him, yes. I kissed him, yes, twice.
Okay, then multiple.
Hey!
Yeah, but you're not understanding. You're not understanding.
Catherine, relax.
We both treated this experience in two completely different ways.
You didn't do that for me.
Wow.
You didn't do for me. Whitney, just don't put everyone to that market for me. You're trying to say everything that you've done there for me. It was to clear your name.
Wow.
It wasn't bad, but I actually can.
Manage your emotions. Calm down.
Right.
Deep breaths.
Listen,
Whitney's the rude sheep.
How was she raising her voice?
Scott acting the way he has
Hey,
kind of
Catherine.
my decision to me.
I can't defend her
I
anymore.
do not want someone that...
So you made yourself look bad. What is this?
I got to get loaded into doing shit that I don't want to do, etc.
Wow.
What you did.
This one is lying through his teeth.
You grabbed your head and forced it down your neck. You don't get to be hurt. You 100% get to be hurt. I would be too.
If you want us to go back to how he was, done that off clearly, because I don't know what it's still not done that off for.
So you're just telling me.
Tomorrow night.
Well, that's it.
So why don't you give me a little summit?
Is this a thing now?
No, come on, I'm not.
What I'm just asking, is it a thing now?
Yeah, I'm saying because of you. What do you mean I didn't want it to happen? It happened. So now, this is happening.
Woo! Okay, guys, Catherine's in the wrong here. She's doing way too much. And I don't know why she's raising her voice at Scott. It's just very unnecessary. Hey guys, it's Murad. Hope you guys are all doing well today. Back again with another video. If you have not subscribed, click that button. It is daily and consistent content. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into this. We've got a lot to break down. Montel and Leah, I just feel like Montel is lying through his teeth, and of course Leah, I feel like she's just saving face for the situation. He's apologized, he wrapped it up quick with a cute bow, and she just basically took that present and took it all the way home. So I don't know why I'm talking like this, but but anyways, I do feel like it's not gonna last between them two. I just feel like nobody told you or forced you to go to the terrace to kiss Tink. You wanted to kiss Tink because that's what you wanted, and therefore you carried on with that. Even the way he was behaving when Tink was talking is going to be a red warning, a flag sign for Leah that this is how he will operate with you on the outside of the villa. If he's doing it to another guy in front of your face, he'll be doing it to you too now. So, you know, watch out for behavior. I feel like it's not going to last between them two. It doesn't make any sense. Leah's quite laid back. She's like, he's done it once. He said sorry, but you know, he won't do it again kind of behavior. But I just don't see these two lasting, to be honest with you. And I feel like these two could be done pretty soon because I don't think that the audience is heavily invested in this couple. I liked them prior to Casa Amor, and I feel like Montel really damaged it by entertaining girls and then kind of just not taking one back and then having that conversation. It just didn't make any sense to me when it comes to these two. Now to Catherine and Scott. I know everybody says I'm biased when it comes to Catherine and etc, etc. I feel like if girls were on Scott, he would have patterned it and brought somebody back. I feel like if Leah was on Scott, he would have patterned it and definitely been with her. That doesn't negate the fact that he's attracted to Catherine, because I feel like he has been, but I feel like if he had those options, which he did not, he would take them. I just don't think that anybody was on him for what we saw in Casa, to be honest with you. However, I do think that Catherine returning and then not getting his side is very confusing to see, because evidently she had a connection, she brought somebody back. She could be more sensitive towards Scott for the fact that he is frustrated, he is upset, he feels like he's second best, second option, and she's like, no you're not, you weren't in the villa. And she's like, well obviously I am, because look where we are right now, and the fact that you brought somebody back. Yes, she had a connection. I think Elom is great for Catherine. I feel like these two get on very well, and I feel like they have a great connection, and even the other girls, Whitney and Ella, are also seeing it and saying it, and they've spent the most time with Catherine more than any of us as viewers. So I think there definitely is something there between them two. The body language, the love language is far more fitted and suited with these two together. However, I do think that Catherine is wrong in the situation, and where she's discussing it with, you know, Scott, raising her voice, having an attitude about it, trying to bring Whitney into the conversation. Yes, Scott was having that conversation with everyone as a group to prove to everybody else for himself that he was into her, but he was also doing it for Catherine because she was upset with the fact that people had their doubts. That was also another reason for why he pulled everybody together, because Catherine was upset with everybody talking about their relationship and that they should say it to their faces instead in private or in front of the group or whatever. So Scott wanted to pull everybody. That move was also for him, but also a gesture to what? Gesture or gesture? It's gesture. gesture towards, you know, Catherine to show her that, look, I'm proving to you that I like you, whatever. And then Casa, what happens? She brings somebody else back, and then, you know, clearly is not being sensitive towards his feelings. That's going to rub him the wrong way if you look at it completely from his perspective. So I see everybody's point, and I feel like Catherine has not made it better for herself in this scenario. She could have sat him down, spoke properly, apologized, and been aware for his feelings, and just said whether she wants to be open with him and still talk to him, or dead it. She's completely deaded it with Scott, and, you know, wants to get on only with Elom, as we saw at the end of this episode, which leaves Scott extremely vulnerable because he doesn't have anybody else. Katie does not want to be second best to any of these boys, so therefore will not entertain it as much, number one. Number two, apparently she has a man on the outside anyways, and they went for a dinner date right before she went into the villa, so she's not stressed about it as much, to be honest with you. So I feel like she should have patterned that conversation well with Scott. She did not, and I felt like she was wrong in today's episode. She was wrong and strong with it. I'm saying that Catherine's wrong, guys. For those who think that I'm always 24/7 biased, you're not watching a robot doing a review, you're watching a human. You can't eliminate bias from human, guys. And I do think that, you know, in this scenario, she should have spoken to him in a much better way and was being rude, and it just was unnecessary because that was not what needed to happen the day after Casa Amor. Emotions are on a high. It just, when Scott was saying the game is the game or whatever, it just comes across to me very sneaky. I don't know why. It just comes across sneaky to me. So I wasn't really buying it or whatever, but I can see where he's upset, and his side and his perspective and his frustration makes complete sense to me. And Catherine should have spoken to him properly, but did not do so. And it's just very unfortunate to see, because she's very much playing into this villain role, and you playing into the villain role, you upsetting Scott, you now with Elom, the audience, I don't think is gonna like that. And I see her exiting this villa quite soon, whereas I felt like if she didn't entertain Elom and continue with Scott, they could have prolonged their journey in the villa. But as she said, she had a connection. She didn't expect to find one, but she definitely had one. However, the connection that she found with Elom, she kissed him on day one and things were going much better. It could just be that she has a connection on both, but the love language and the suitor is more strong with Elom than with Scott. And the girls are saying that Elom is straightforward with it. Scott was not. So, you know, it does speak volumes. Scott and Catherine were together for a while, but to be honest with you, it never was, you know, apparent to me. Maybe they didn't get the airtime for us as viewers, but I just didn't see him, his body language, his movement, his eyes, his facial, his chat. It wasn't as strong to me in what I saw with him and Catherine than I have seen with Elom and Casa. Yes, Elom has a motive to get back into the villa and it's worked for him, but I hope, and it looks like he's continuing that same behavior, so it looks like to me it is authentic. However, Catherine is wrong in that situation, and I can definitely see that. Tariq and Ella are going back and forth on this, and, you know, Tariq's ego is hurt. When a man's ego is hurt, they are going to do the absolute most, because it was more embarrassing for him to be left there alone than him actually losing Ella in that moment. He just, as he said, he didn't want to be the main Casamore victim, and that's exactly what happened for him. It frustrated him, upset him. I feel like he does have genuine feelings towards Ella, and he's flirting with Katie because A, he's single and he can, and B, he just feels that his ego's hurt, and therefore he wants to try and repair it and rebuild it, and by doing so, you want to try and do the most to an extent to try and show Ella, like, look, I'm still a man, I can still get girls, this is why I'm outside the villa, I don't experience rejection, this is minimizing my ego and pride, I don't like it, and therefore he's trying to do the most with Katie, which is not going to work because Katie does not want to be anybody's second option, evidently, which is why she had that conversation with with Zach, and was like, listen, evidently you like her more, I'm out. I'm not going to do the whole triangle nonsense. That's not me. I don't need to do it. Molly and Zach barely got any airtime in this episode, and you know what, guys? I'm grateful. Now, when we go to who else in this Casa situation? Whitney. Whitney's man. What's his name again? I keep getting it wrong. Do you not know either?
It's Whitney's man.
Yeah, but what's Whitney's man name? Because I was saying Elok a couple of days ago, and I'm not doing that. So, and then I was saying Locan, but his name is not Locan.
Locken.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting his name right today. For facts. Lockham. There we go.
I told you Locken.
Lockham. It's with an M. Lockham.
Sorry.
Lockham. Let's just go with Lockham. Whitney and Lockham, I like them together. I'm glad they had that kiss and etc. And we want to see more of these two together. We need to see airtime of these two as a couple together. Otherwise, Whitney is not getting to that finale, because although everybody likes Whitney, that doesn't mean that it's enough to take you to the winning position. You need to be shown a lot with your couple, and hopefully the audience like these two together. I want to see more of them together over the next 2 to 3 days, because I want Whitney to win. She has to win this competition. It's Whitney for me. It's Whitney for me, baby. It's always been Whitney for me. And I feel like post Casa, there's this glow up. Post Medi, there's this glow up. She looks even more beautiful, gorgeous, everything. So hopefully she takes the crown when it comes to this. She has to win Love Island. She's carried this season from day 3 that she got into now. She is a legend in my eyes, and she has to win this competition. I stand her completely. Absolutely, she has to win the show. And I like the fact that they're having those conversations. Not only that, but she's also a good friend. She made it very clear to Catherine, stay composed.
But I actually can manage your emotions, calm down, deep breaths.
Whitney's a real G.
Because whenever Medi was doing the most, or anybody else, Whitney remained composed, and that was a very articulate, mature thing for her to do in these conversations. And if anything, that's a green flag. She's never raised her voice, been angry with anybody. She's had proper conversations, and that's a green flag. That's somebody that you want in a relationship, that they can communicate and talk properly about stuff. So she ain't never made no Jess cry, no nothing. Again, Sammy and Jess, I feel like the storyline has just run dry. It's run stale. It's expired avocado that's on your kitchen table. That's what it's giving to me. I'm over it. I'm not really invested in the Sammy, Jess, Amber situation. Amber needs to go back to university. I don't know what she's doing there. She's just really become part of the furniture. Is she a Love Island bottle? We don't know, but she's definitely just sitting there. I'm not really invested in her storyline with Sammy evidently returning in the villa. Sammy's feelings for Jess has grown. Seeing Jess has reminded him. Amber knows this. She can't really do much about it, and I feel like she will be packing her bags and going home quite soon, to be honest with you, because I feel like there's going to be a culling. I feel sorry for Uzi. Ella bringing him back makes sense to me, because this closed open option doesn't really mean anything if a couple of days before Tarique is talking about missing the game and etc. was flirting with XYZ, and Ella had to sulk and watch it all. She's going to have an impression that he's doing all of that in Casa around 6 girls. So that's what she thought, and therefore she brought back Uzi, because there was a connection between them two. But at the same time, her connection with Tarique is stronger. I do think Tarique and Ella will get back together again. We saw it in this episode. He was saying, I miss you. She was saying the same thing. His emotions today towards Ella are already very different than yesterday, which means give it a week, they'll be back together again. They will have a romantic dinner or something. The connection will be there and things will be okay between these two. We see Ella getting upset that Tyrique is flirting with Katie, only because emotions are high. Katie's not going to pattern him down in any way. She's not really involved in patterning him down. Like I feel like it's not going to go that way.
Is this a thing now?
No, come on, no.
What? I'm just asking, is it a thing now?
I'm saying because of you. What do you mean I didn't want it to happen? It happened. So now, this is happening.
I feel like Tariq is doing this for his ego thing. I get why Tariq is hurt and upset. I can see both sides of the coin, and I can also see why Ella will bring somebody back. I just wish Catherine back to her. I wish she spoke to Scott in a proper way. I felt like it was wrong and it was disrespectful to Scott and his feelings and his frustration. And if it was role reversed, and if Scott was speaking to Catherine like that after Scott brought somebody else back, I would be defending Catherine. So I feel like, it does make sense if we look at it and, swivel the situation between these two. I do feel sorry for Scott in this situation. I can understand how he feels this way. I just, as a viewer, was not compelled or saw that he was, really, really into Catherine. I just felt like I just didn't really get what his motive was. It looked sus to me as a viewer. That's just how I felt at the time. I wasn't buying into their relationship, just like I wasn't buying into, Whitney and Medi, just because of what the things that Medi was saying. So, there are some relations that are just odd to me, no matter how long you've been in the villa, based on airtime and exactly what happens. Mitchell and Abby didn't get any airtime today in any capacity, but I feel like they can sneak win this competition. Why? Because I think Mitchell has that Jack the Lad type of behavior, and Mitchell and Abby somewhat, to an extent, are giving Danny and Jack Love Island Season 4 2018 winners. And I think that if they get more airtime in the dates they go on, they will definitely be in that finale #1, and they can definitely sneak win this competition, because, Fiat 500 love that type of couple, especially in the UK. And Mitchell is growing on a lot of people now as well, because whenever he even does make any mess, he's trying to be funny with it and apologizes and wraps it up. He doesn't prolong his beefs with anyone. So we'll see what happens when it comes to this finale, to be honest with you. I feel like it was a good episode. I felt like it was a good Casa Amor episode yesterday. It wasn't a bad episode in any regards. It was entertaining to watch. But I just feel, because the season has been spectacular, that the Casa Amor would have been even better. My hopes were higher, mainly probably because I knew what was going to happen. It seems predictable because of overconsumption. It's the 10th season. We know what's going to happen now. So I wish that the producers added a different twist to Casa that we didn't expect this time round. I think Casa Amor going forward, there has to be something different in the Casa Amor challenge. We can't keep getting the same predictable stuff where one of the Casa Amor Islanders who's standing there says something. One of the last couple is the main couple. Like, you know, and I feel like Tasha said this. There isn't much love in this, you know, season. It's very much rocky relationships or weak relationships. We haven't seen proper love between two people, like a Molly Mae Tommy situation, reuniting at Casa. That type of love sentiment where people are crying, getting emotional. We haven't seen that this season. But alas, every season is different. And yes, I just used the word alas in this review, but every season definitely is different, guys. Fantastic episodes. We're just going to see what happens. I feel like Jess and Sammy will get back together again. Tyrique and Ella will get back together again. Catherine and Ilom will be there. Scott is vulnerable. He might be dumped soon. Katie, I have no idea what she's going to do. And Mitchell and Abby are strong. I feel like nothing is going to weigh these two. They're both together. Mitchell doesn't have anybody else. Abby's not going to sway. She's happy that she's been brought back to the main villa. But I just hope Catherine can apologize to Scott in the next couple of episodes as emotions go down, because you bringing back anybody because you base a better connection on with them is not what I'm upset about, because naturally either one of them would have done so, because A, it's open, B, from what I look like, it didn't seem like it was strong, and the girls are reaffirming that today. However, I felt like she could have handled things far better, and it was just unfortunate to see all of that. She's young, she's 22, however, at the same time, she could have handled that better, and, you know, Scott clearly does like her, but Catherine's like, no. And the conversation at the end was very awkward between them two. They're not getting each other's sides, but it's more so Catherine not getting Scott's side. Like, he was standing there alone, you know, he really likes you, you know, have some sensitivity and empathy towards him, and just apologize and wrap it up. You don't have to go back with him. Let me know your thoughts. I want to come to this, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Click that button, guys. It is daily and consistent content. Subscribe. Click that button. Follow me on Instagram at Murad_Morali. I'm now on Threads as well. Everybody seems to be on that damn app, child. It's much better than Twitter. It's just giving chilled, nice, non-toxic vibes. For now, subscribe, comment down below on what your thoughts are. Even if you disagree, there are many comments people can disagree, and I'm here for that because it ignites conversation, and I'm just here for conversation. So definitely, if you wish to agree, disagree, comment down below. But after seeing Catherine's behavior on today's episode, I can't sit here and sort of defend that, because that's indefensible in my opinion. And I just felt like, you know, at least Ella came back to try have a conversation with Tariq, and Ella said, you can be her. You know, you are validated in how you're feeling. I just wish that Catherine was doing that for Scott, but rather more so, she was just shutting his feelings down and, you know, just being defensive with it. And it's like, yes, he was gathering everybody around for himself, but he was also doing it for Catherine because she didn't like people talking about it as well, and she seems to have forgotten that. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Click that button. It is daily and consistent content, and I'll catch you guys soon for another review.
Bye.
Bye, guys.